say that.
Hey, it's your girl, your host, Alzada Florence.
Say that. You better say that. Ooh.
Thank you for tuning in to the You Better Say That talk show.
You better say that. Spreading love all over the community and encouraging one another. Topics that inspire you and me. You've been saying. You gotta say that. Spreading love all over the community.
Hello, and welcome to the You Better Say That talk show, where we dialogue with people from around the world. I am your host, Alzada Florence, and we are so excited that you took the time to join us today. Today, our show is about a young man who survived foster care, adoption, and was eventually adopted by a beautiful family. He wants to share his journey, the things that he's gone through, the things that he's overcome, and the challenges that he's faced on his life journey. So today, help me welcome Richard and Brittany Oden. Thank y'all for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. We're very excited to kind of share our story with you and hopefully encourage and minister to others through our story of what God has done for us in our lives.
Amen. Yes. Well, how they ended up on the show today is hilarious, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So we interviewed a coach a couple weeks ago, and I think you watched the show.
I did.
And he called me one night about 9:45.
Yes, I did.
And I was like, well, who is this calling my phone this time of the night? And so anyway, I answered, and he told me he had saw the show, and he was really impressed, and he wanted to share his story. So we talked for 2.5 hours.
That's correct.
So I think we talked from 10 to 12:20. And I was just talking to this stranger like I had knew him all my life. And we laughed and we cried and we had similarities in our stories and our journey. And I was so blessed when I got off the phone with him. And so the next morning when I wake up, lo and behold, I get this wonderful text from Brittany saying, hey, Pastor Alzada, this is Brittany. Did you not know that the guy that you were talking to last night, all night, was my husband, Richard? I was like, oh my God, this is not Richard. And so I was so happy and so excited to know that the 2.5 hours that I had spent on the phone with just talking and sharing was someone that I actually knew. And so it just made my heart full of joy and just, excitement to know that, to know his story. I didn't know that all about you. I didn't know anything about your journey. I knew Brittany because Brittany has been in my life as long as Tamika has been in my life almost. And she would come exercise with us, and she would, she done all of my pastoral embroidery on my towels. And, and I guess, and I brought your baby a birthday cake, and then brought the football team to his party when he was younger. So it was just a divine connection. And, God brings people back together for such a time as this. And so it brought you to the show today, and we are so glad to have you again.
Well, thank you. Our conversation, I feel like you said, a divine meeting. Little did I know that you and my wife already had a relationship, and it's just it gives me goosebumps to think about it.
I know.
I called you because I was in the hospital with one of our buddies.
Yes.
We'll call him a buddy.
Mm-hmm.
My wife calls me less than a week before I talked to you and said, there's this kid who has health issues, and they can't find him a home. And I said, baby, he's got a home. We just got to help him take care of his health issues.
Sure.
And so, God has allowed us to help children like him and like us, like I was. And it's a blessing. And I really want to share my story to, like I said, to help encourage others. Not everybody's called to be foster parents, but there's so much more that they can do. Big House Foundation is a local community nonprofit organization who ministers to foster kids and adopted kids. And so if you could volunteer, give a little bit of your means, there's just so much opportunity that people may not know about in this city. And so we want to kind of shine a light on that. We want to shine a light on how God has blessed us in our story. It's it's just an amazing story. It had nothing to do with me. I just happened to be the one he picked.
Exactly.
And so I really want to share that with the world,
Yes.
and to encourage people to, even follow God and not give up on it. Because so I was a foster kid. It was kind of a unique experience being back where I was, because in the county that I was at the hospital was the same county that my foster care stint started. And so there was a lot of emotions going on with me for that.
Sure.
But I was a foster kid from 5 to 12 when I got adopted,
Right.
and moved 11 different times. And that's rough for a kid when you're that age. And I really questioned why God put me in foster care. I really questioned, why can't I have a normal life
like everybody else?
Yeah, like a real mom and dad. And people don't say real mom and dad. That's my mom and dad. Well, as a foster kid, that's what you say. That you're not my real mom and dad. I want my real mom and dad. And so, I was angry at God for a long time. And but I was blessed with some homes who taught me 2 things: what love is and who God was.
Oh, come on now.
And because of that, my story was blessed by Him.
Yes.
And I don't know if I'm getting ahead of
okay.
you,
Well, that's
but
okay.
I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So basically, and I will get into the details in your questions, but basically, I wrote a book on my life. This young lady here was the most important part of my life.
Yes.
We started dating when we were in middle school. She's my middle school sweetheart.
Oh my goodness, middle school, Brittany. Yeah. Middle school.
So that probably had a lot to do with me, being that I had a lot of trust issues. I would be moved in a home, think I would get, to stay there forever, and then they would move me. And then after it happens a time or 2 or 3, then it's hard to start trusting people. So I found Brittany, and I thought maybe if I get a ring on her, I wouldn't have to worry about me leaving or her leaving.
Exactly.
And
I love it.
I tell her all the time, if she ever says she's going to leave, I'm coming with her. So so I've got that too. So anyways, I went from a foster kid to a foster parent, which completed my full life circle. And then I went from an adopted kid, I got adopted out of foster care, to adopting 3 children out of foster care, which completed my second life circle.
Wow.
And so I wrote this book, My Full Life Circle Squared. It's a foster care and adoption story. It's also a military story. I wrote the majority of it when I was in Afghanistan in 2014, where this young lady had just gotten 3 foster kids, and we found out we were pregnant. And then Uncle Sam comes knocking on the door and say, by the way, pack your bags, you're going to Afghanistan for 6 months, where I was when she gave birth to our first biological child.
I remember that.
And so it's quite a story, and that story doesn't end there. Contrail and Elijah are part of the Opelika High School football team.
Yes.
And which led me to you because of Coach Moore. And so we're so excited to tell people what God has done in our lives. Baby, what would you add to that?
Yeah, what would you add to that?
I do think bringing a spotlight to Big House and saying that not every person is made to foster, but there is something you can do.
Yes.
Because it's a lot, and we have a lot of kids. Right now we have 7 children, and so sometimes we need help. And that can be a meal, that can be
clothes.
taking a child somewhere, clothes. Big House has a nice clothes closet where foster parents can come and shop for free for baby items, clothes, shoes. They have the back to school bash, which provides backpacks and school supplies. They have a parents night out, which is amazing. If you
that's wonderful.
have a lot of kids that need a break, need a date night. So there's lots of volunteering options, monetarily donating, supporting. Lots of ways to get involved and to support those who are fostering or adopting, even if that's not something you can do.
Exactly. That's fantastic. I knew that they did a lot, but I think they've expanded since they got their new building and everything. I think they kind of enlarged their, activities and stuff like that, making it more feasible for the people in the community, which is fantastic. I know Mr. Milner very well, and they've done a great job and his kids. So now, Brittany, you and Richard have been married for how long?
21 years.
21 years. And he said he found you in middle school. Well, you lost. I'll just
No.
joking.
Yeah.
Well, how was it meeting him, knowing that his past was kind of turbulent, and afraid that, he move or, some insecurities or trust issues, at such a young age? How did you reel him in?
We've pretty much known each other our whole lives.
Okay.
So he lived with several different families in our church home in Huntsville.
Okay.
And so literally from elementary school, we've known each other.
That's wonderful.
And then started liking each other in middle school. And so to me, a lot of times, I was like, you're fine. His baggage, I'm like, you're fine. It's not a
godsend.
Yeah. You said reel me in. Well, she does.
She reeled you in.
Yeah, she does.
Very good.
And she still does. she probably reeled me in this afternoon.
Right.
so God gives you what you need sometimes.
Oh my goodness, don't make me shout.
Yeah.
And you better say that because opposites attract. Most of the time you're going to find a husband and wife that's different. One's going to be an introvert, that's going to be an extrovert. But just to see how you guys blend together, with each other. And make a difference in each other's life. That's what you have to do, and you ground him and he grounds you. You know what I'm saying? And that makes it so beautiful, but that's awesome. 21 years.
But it's important to us. Number one, we took our marriage vow serious. But number two, when you're a foster kid, you come from a broken home.
Yeah.
One of the things that really broke my heart was when we got the foster kids, Contrail, Gabby, and Elijah. Our goal was to kind of get permanency in their life.
Sure.
And then Uncle Sam come knocking on the door saying, "Oh, by the way, Dad, you're going to Afghanistan." And Elijah, he pitched a fit, and we had to deal with that. It wasn't his fault,
Right?
But I totally get it. I was in his shoes,
Yes.
and so it's very important for us to stay committed to each other and let our children see that because a lot of times these kids come from just broken homes, same as I. And my mom was a prostitute. She was on drugs, alcoholic, the whole nine, and I'm very honest about that because that's my background.
That's right.
And sitting at the table, hearing adults over here and children's table over here, they would never say he's not going to amount to anything to his face, but they would always say that kid doesn't have a chance. He's not going to be successful. The statistics say that what the adults are saying at that table is right. And so, I was just determined that, maybe with God, when I saw David and Goliath,
Come on.
maybe that this kid could be successful. And that was my Philistine. I just didn't want to be a statistic. And then in addition to that, what could I do to help children who are in my shoes? And so when Gabby and Elijah and Contrail came to our house, the first time Contrail, he was 2 years old, I said, I miss my mommy. I said, son, we can talk about that because I miss my mommy too. And I just think that God, he very few foster dads could say that and truly understand that. And so, yes, it was rough, but to be able to help my kiddos, I wouldn't take it back. I'm very blessed to be able to understand exactly, for the most part, what they're going through. So, and we want to share this, what God has done with us. I went to college. I want to marry your daughter degree. My father-in-law said, yeah, you can marry my daughter as soon as you have your degree.
Right.
Little did he know that, I was determined to marry her. I wasn't determined to get my degree. So I did it in 3 years. And I said, okay, Pops, a deal's a deal.
Yeah.
And she was 19 when we got married, and never really much to use my degree. But I run a successful real estate business.
Yeah.
We are very blessed. I don't have any choice but to give God all the glory and the credit for that because my IQ's down here and my blessings are way up here.
That's right.
And
exactly. And your God is big.
He is big.
Yes.
And I, at least he gave me the maturity enough to realize and understand that. And we do that. And we were able to use our blessings to minister to these kids and give back to the community a little bit. And so I just look at my life and I'm just like, wow, why me, God? I know why now. And if we can continue to do this, please continue to bless us. And I think he has, and I think he will. And we just, we're excited about the future, what God has plans for our life, and helping this kiddo that we just got. We're in it for the long haul. When we get his medical needs met, we're going to take his Tushy to Disney World, and that's the plan.
I remember you telling me that on the phone that night. That was a big plan. Ahead. That's awesome.
So we're excited for that, and it's just it's been a blessing. It's been a fun ride. It's just I still get goosebumps. I don't even read well. My biological daughter got diagnosed with dyslexia. Pretty sure I probably have that. They didn't have that.
Is it Annabelle or the baby?
Annabelle.
Yeah. I remember Annabelle.
So they didn't have that diagnosis when I was coming up. I struggled to read. And
I think they suspected you had it, but they never tested
you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And God went from a guy who doesn't read very well to a published author.
Yes.
And again, I don't have a choice but to give God the glory for that, because I saw what he did in my life, and I just wanted to tell other people, just stick with him. He'll bless you. It may not be in all the ways you think, but opportunity and shutting doors and opening doors.
Right, exactly.
And so I just, it's my memoir. It's what God has done for us.
You should be proud of it. You should be proud.
Yeah, I am very proud of it. To be a published author.
Exactly. That's huge.
That's pretty big. Yeah.
And not only should you be proud of your book and your memoir and what you shared in the book, but your life. Your life, what you and Brittany have come together to do, because you're giving back. You're giving back from what you came. You're helping other children. You're mentoring other children. You're caring for other children. You're raising and rearing other children. And the good thing about it, the good thing and the best thing about it, is that you're raising them up in a godly home. You're not just foster parents or adoptive parents or parents who just get kids and just let them do what they want to do, and you're not being a good example in front of them. You just you're drinking and cussing and fighting, but you're getting a check. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just to that, but you're not doing that. Your love is for these kids, and your love is for their future and their hope, and God has blessed you guys to do that, and so I'm when you talk about you're not qualified to write a book, you're not, your IQ and all this stuff. Well, the God that we serve is able to do exceedingly and abundantly and above all that we can ever ask or think.
That's right.
It's according to the power that works on the inside of us. So God put something in you that's able to surpass what they think or what we even think about ourselves sometimes, because we don't always think much about ourselves. I can't do this and I can't do that, but God said yes you can, and you outweigh the odds. You beat the odds. You survive being in foster care. You survive the odds, and now you're sitting here as an author, real estate. You work for UPS. You married Brittany. That's a master's degree right there.
You're not wrong.
And
You're not wrong.
So Brittany, what do you think about his journey? What do you think about his journey? Since you've known him all his life, what do you think about his journey?
I think
and where he is today.
I think it definitely, he has found his purpose in that asking why.
That's good.
And we're able to do that together. And sometimes I think, or I have thought recently, that we're 40, we're getting older. That maybe our foster care journey was going to come to an end, and then we met our new little friend a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And my friend Lee King was just saying the other day, she was like, "There's always the next big thing, and we have no idea what that is, but God does." And so I don't think our foster care journey is coming to an end.
Right.
Anytime soon.
Exactly.
And sometimes my kids are like, "Are we getting another baby, Mom?"
That's the next question that I really want to propose to you guys. You have Annabelle, and what's the baby's name?
Ella Kate.
You have Annabelle, Ella Kate, and I know she came. You have Elijah and them first, and I remember them, and then I remember when you had Annabelle, and you were overseas, and then I knew you had another baby, but I'm just not familiar with her name and all that. But so as they grew up, and Elijah and them had been there, and then here comes Annabelle, here comes Anna Kate. How do you guys blend that all together? Knowing that they were biological and then that they were adopted. I know it don't matter to them, but what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's
a
really
you
neat.
can talk about it.
I think it's a really neat dynamic that we had Kendra and Elijah and Gabby first. Annabelle was kind of their baby because she was, born.
Yeah.
It's also really neat to see a biological parent relationship. The big kid's mom loved Annabelle. Would bring her Christmas presents when we would see her. And so our biological kids sometimes have given us a relationship with a biological parent by having a sweet little baby to love on. Their mom not being the only one, but we've had other kids and bio moms throughout the times who would love on our kids, our biological kids. So that's really neat. And Annabelle actually is the reason why we have our new little buddy.
Okay.
She said, "Mom, do it."
Oh, how old is she now?
10.
Okay.
And of course, they love babies. And the big kids, the boys might say they don't
Of course.
like babies, but you'll see them walking around holding babies.
Yeah. Oh, sweet.
So one thing I wanted to touch on real quick while we're close to that subject is we are getting on up there, and we had said after Gabby, Contrell, and Elijah that we were probably finished with adopting.
Right.
But we have another baby in our home, and it's funny how God will say, "Okay, well, when you get done with your plans, I'll show you." He said,
"Now you better say that.
Yeah.
You better say that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are introduced. God said, "Let me introduce you to this little fella." And so, we have to get out our own way sometimes and let God, let go and let God. And so we're so excited to have him and see what the future holds for him too.
Exactly.
So
So what do you want to see happen in their lives when they leave home and when they leave your house going to college? Because I think your oldest son Elijah is getting ready to go to college in 2 years.
That's correct.
And he's preparing to go, and this has got to be your first child out of your home, Brittany. Just think about that.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be easy. I'm just here to tell you right now.
I told my sister yesterday on the way to the football game that having 2 back-to-back senior years is going to be torture.
Yes, it is. I'm telling you. You better get built up for it. I'm telling you. Start praying now.
Yeah.
Because I went through that with my son. And it was hard. I think I told you I walked around like a zombie for 6 months because I love football and I was a football mom, and I'm talking about I was 10 toes down, and Coach Blackman allowed me to to run the football family. Just bring all the family and all the parents, and we had so much fun. I tell you, we had dinners and we did everything for the football team. They let us just raise havoc over there. We did what we wanted to do, but it was so fun. And when I talk to parents now that we've gone on and moved on, they was like, we wish we could relive that time. It was so we were just knitted together. Yes. We was family. We loved each other. We supported each other. We took care of each other. And then all of a sudden one day it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you guys need to be prepared for that.
And it's so fun watching them on the field. I've never been a sports person, but it's really different when it's your babies out there playing.
You better say that.
Yeah.
Yes, it's you're gonna enjoy the journey. I'm telling you, you got 2 more years in high school, and then guess what? You'll get a chance to travel to college.
Yeah.
Wherever he goes, you'll get a chance to do that too. We had a very good stint in college too. We met great people up there, people that you'll have friends for a lifetime. And he'll meet new friends. And then his journey will begin. So how do you think you guys are gonna be able to manage that when your first baby is leaving home?
We're going to call people like you and ask a lot of questions.
I'm going to be praying.
Yeah. I think that our goal in all of our children is when they leave our house to remember and put God first.
Come on now.
That's what we've tried to do. We're not perfect, and we
none of
we
us
mess
are.
up, but I just we really want to put God first, and if they do that and they're successful, like you said, God can bless you farther than you can even imagine.
Yes.
And so we're very proud of our entire family. It's a blended family.
Yes.
We'll go out to grocery stores sometimes and, get those looks, and people will talk to us, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And what I always do, and I love messing with people, I'll say, okay, now.
Say, Richard.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
So I'll say, okay, now, the 2 white ones, they're the ones I adopted. The 3 black ones, they're my biological. And I'll turn around and I'll walk away. And if they can't figure it out, I can't help them. So
you do not.
Yes, I've been doing that.
Brittany.
Yes, yeah.
He thinks he's funny.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess you leave them with a like,
Yeah.
really? Did he just
For
say
the
that?
most part, about 90% of them figure out that I'm joking, but there's that 10%.
Right,
So,
right.
so.
Well, that kind of composes a question. How does it feel to have an interracial family? I mean, we talked about it on the phone.
Right.
A little bit that night. We talked about everything.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about that when you talk about
Sure.
it. Sure. Brittany talk about it.
I think I think that you've got to look through the eyes of both cultures. I think that's, as a father, my job. And it's interesting to us, to be honest. Okay, are they going to date? Black, white, it doesn't matter to us.
It
just
doesn't matter.
Sit back and watch and see, and it's just interesting. Or maybe they do date both at different times.
Sure.
It's interesting. One of the best memories that I have is when Annabelle was little, and she just knows them as brothers.
Right.
And so they say it's racism is a taught behavior. Well,
right.
I can see that firsthand, that it is a taught behavior, because somebody would have to tell Annabelle that they were different, because all she knew was they were her brothers. Exactly. So I would say, if I'm honest, it's a little more difficult, but nothing that God puts in our path that we can't handle with Him. So we do the best we can, and hopefully we're doing the right
good
thing.
job, right?
Good
Exactly.
job. That's what we want
I
to do.
think it opens doors too, because when I remember the kids are little, if you're out with them, people are going to talk to you who you might not ever talk to.
Sure. That's good.
For several years, we went to Southside Church of Christ, which is a Black congregation, and we love everybody there, and we love Willie. And Willie Wax, the preacher, he is such a great role model for our kids. And to see a strong black man, Christian leader,
that's good.
And able to talk to them about staying out of the club, staying out of the bar, and they can listen to him on that kind of stuff. So I think it's good to surround ourselves with people who can help us, mentor us.
Right. Yeah, and just kind of identify.
Right.
Well, when they were
that's
little, Brittany and I had a conversation about how everywhere we went, they were the minority.
Sure.
And so we wanted to put ourselves in their shoes.
Right. At
that point, we decided to go to Southside Church of Christ. Great church. Love everybody there, like she said. And that was an opportunity for us to kind of put ourselves in their shoes. And it was a blessing.
That was good.
It was a blessing. And God had a plan in that. We still have. When Elijah, he was covering Cedarian Morgan last night at the football game.
Right.
And he covered him well. And then the lineman got the ball, and he made a hit and caused him to fumble. Brother Lockhart blowing my phone up saying, hey, that was your son there. And he's the elder at the Southside Church of Christ. So, we still have lifelong friendships that came from there too. So she's right, it does open doors. And, we've always tried to teach our children red and yellow, black and white. They are precious
in His sight. That's it.
And so that's how we try to live by and teach them.
Exactly.
You had said what we wanted to teach our children. And the same thing my parents, who you're going to talk to later, taught me. And that's two things, and I've said this before, but what love is and who God is. For every child that comes through our home, and we've probably had over 100.
Wow.
A lot of short term.
Short term,
right,
but over 100. All different nationalities, all different, but if we could just, even in the short term, teach them who God is and who love is to the best of our ability, we know we've made an impact, and that seed, God will grow that.
Yes, He
and
will.
it'll be planted, and at that point, we've done what God has called us to do.
That's right, exactly, because Paul planted, the Paul of water, and God gives the increase. You know, so you guys are planted good seeds. You know, you made a difference. You impacted other children, and when they leave, and even if they have to leave your home from the respite care, then guess what? They'll remember you. You know, they'll remember the kindness. They'll remember, you know, what,
right. And it's not just children. We've had a lot of relationship with biological parents too.
Okay. Okay.
Made friendships with them, and hopefully that support, you know, stays with them and helps them be successful as they continue to get their kids back.
Exactly. That is awesome. And you know, the number one thing is, you know, God is love. He is love. He's not trying to be. He's not praying about it. He's not thinking about it. He is. And love is always what love does. You know, and when it comes to kids, they look at that. They want that. And so when you're able to pour love back into them, they're gonna always remember that. You know, people are not gonna remember what you gave them and what you did. They're gonna remember how you treated them. And to me, that goes a long way. Don't you think?
Everybody wants to feel special.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then it's according to how you make them feel.
When we got our little buddy, I said, now in our house, you are special. You have a place. You belong. Exactly. And that's how we try to treat all the kids that come through our home. Because that's, to be honest with you, how I wanted to be treated. And most of the time I got treated that way, but sometimes I didn't.
Right.
Sometimes I, like you said, was just a paycheck. And that's not a good feeling for a young kiddo.
No.
And so, you know, we always want to be treated how we think we should be treated. Exactly. We should treat others like that. And, that's right. You know, God tells us to do that. So that's what we try to do.
Exactly. Well, you know, I was looking through some of the pages of your book. I just kind of went and looked it up. And I saw a quote that says, experience is not what happens to you, but what you do with what happens to you. Talk about that just for a little bit.
So I had every reason to become a statistic, be behind bars, the whole nine. We hear it all the time. But I wanted to have my experience definitely impact my life for the rest of my life, but not in a negative way.
Sure.
And so one of the reasons that I wrote this book is because, like I said, my IQ is probably not anywhere close to the top. I know that for sure. And so I wanted to motivate others that if this kid could do it and take his experiences, his negative experiences, and turn it into a positive, then the rest of you guys, you can do it too. I promise you. I didn't do it by myself. I had God, who was the number one. I had a fantastic spouse, great parents who helped me get there. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just God. It was everybody that God put in my life. And so it was very important for me to, let it define me, but not negatively, but positively. And I think that's what that quote meant. Is, you know, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you.
Exactly. And you turned it around and made it positive. Because, you know, the scripture says, you know, for all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord, to them that are called according to his purpose. So you took the bad, you know, you gathered up all the bad. Try not to cry again. But you gathered up all the bad, you know, that happened to you in life, and you dumped it out. You shook it out of the trash can, you know, and you built something great with your life.
And God doesn't promise us that it won't be hard.
Oh, now you better say that. He didn't promise us that. Where's that written in the Bible? We can't say it came from such and such chapter so-and-so, such, you know, scripture verses. He didn't promise us that.
Right.
You know, but guess what? He promised to be with us. That's what he promised. You know, so you beat the odds. You know, you took what happened to you and you made good out of it. You know, you made good out of the bad deal that was dealt. You did good with the hands that were dealt to you.
Yeah, I think you know, I just could have went both ways, and I had to prove to myself, number one, because to be honest with you, as a child, I thought I knew what my future was going to be, and it didn't look good. And so I even at 43, and you know, God has blessed us with a successful business, a UPS driver, been there almost 25 years. You know, but even today, I still, you know, I tell her, my love language is, I got to hear you tell me that you're proud of me. I still need that. Words of affirmation, And I think that has everything to do with my childhood.
That's right.
I still need to feel like I'm good enough.
That's right.
I still feel sometimes that I got even more to prove, which, my finances, I slept in the back of cars when I lived with my biological. I was homeless, got made fun of because I had holes in my shoes. And so it was hard for me to understand in the scriptures where it said, does God not take care of the birds of the air? Is he not going to take care of you as well? And so even at 43, after everything that God has blessed me with, I still need to feel like I'm good enough. And for God, I know he tells me that I am.
You are.
And I'm working on it. Yeah, I'm not there yet. But I wanted to let people know about my story and say, hey, as much as he's blessed us, he's still struggling. He doesn't have it. A lot of people look at our story and say, he's got it going on.
Right.
And no, I'm still struggling. I still have struggles.
That's right. And you're striving.
I'm striving.
You're striving every day. We're not. None of us has attained. That's what Paul said. I haven't arrived.
Right.
But I'm pressing and I'm striving toward the mark of the high calling. So you keep striving. Don't give up. Don't quit. Because your journey and your story can bless so many other people. I even see you just going to the foster care or the adoptive home or wherever, and just ministering and just pouring back into those kids. I just see you doing that. And I think that's just another opportunity for you to lift their heads and give them some hope, give them courage, give them something to look forward to, and then they can look at you and say, and if he did it, then I can do it. I'm here. I'm in this bad place, but there's hope for me. And I think that's something that maybe I pray that God will open up a door for you to do, because you have so much to share. And the haven't been told. We just can't tell it all on You Better Say That talk show. But you have so much to share. Where you've been, and I know that there's more just deepness in you. From the hurt, the pain, the disappointment, that you've encountered, and I shared some of my story, being abused as a little girl, being divorced parents, and then abused as a young teenager, being in my first marriage, pregnant right out of high school, into abusive marriage for 6 years. And my life has not been good, but God has taken all of that stuff, dumped it out, and gave me a testimony to minister to other hurting women. And that's my passion. So don't ever think that you're not good enough, because God is going to use you mightily from where you've been. And so it's working for you. And that's a good thing that you should look at. Hey, I've been through some bad times, but it's working for me.
Well,
and keep working it.
Yes, ma'am. And you're right. And opportunities like this is therapy for me. It really is. It is. And I'm just very blessed that God has given me the opportunity to be on your talk show.
Yes, sir.
I'm blessed, and talking about it. I'm an advocate for counselors. Been counseling a lot in my life.
Good. Me too.
And I just I want to encourage other people who may be struggling, foster kids, people who maybe have thought about taking that little leap of faith with God to become foster parents, because there may be some that's watching this show right now. I'm not selling a book. I'll give it to you and I'll sign it. If I could get just one more foster parents, one more home, then this book was a complete success. And I'm pretty sure I have done that, and so it is. But one more is always good. And so if I had to say why I wrote the book, and I've done a lot of hard things in my life,
but that was the hardest.
This one was definitely one of the hardest things I've ever done. Statistically, a lot of people write books, but they never finish them. And so my life has been, I'm going to beat the statistics. And there was times when my wife probably wasn't a big fan of me when I was writing this book, to be fair. And she didn't want to talk about it or see it or anything. She was encouraging, but it was hard. And I've done a lot of hard things. And I just want to encourage other people that no matter what they're going through, with God and hope, they can accomplish so much.
Yes. And God is not done with you yet. He's not done. So just keep pressing, keep thriving, keep digging, and see what else God wants you to do. Both of you guys, to me, when I look at your marriage, I see, marriage is ministry, but when I look at you guys, I see marriage, but I also see ministry. you know. And when I say ministry, I mean not in the pulpit or anything like that, but just ministering, you know, giving back. You know what I'm saying? Just coming together as a ministering team and just pouring back into those kids because you have a love for kids.
Well, it spreads too. You know, we go to 10th Street Church of Christ now. They had a youth group that we really wanted our children to be a part of. And when we look around that church, how many other foster / adoptive parents are there now?
Oh wow,
2 others.
oh
Two
wow, from
others.
0 to 2 others.
And,
Okay,
and you know, God gets the glory for that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I did ask a couple of our friends, like, you know, was there any nudging or, you know, had you thought about that because of us?
yeah,
And they were like, absolutely.
yeah.
Of course, you should already know
That's
that.
awesome.
And so, you know, we're excited about that. We're very proud of it. And for the kids that they took out of foster care and adopted, you know, they have such a future.
Oh, yeah.
They have such a hope.
Oh, right.
They know who God is. And that's such a blessing for us to be a small part of that.
Exactly. Well, you know, we're gonna when my son went to college, we met this beautiful family in Brentwood, Tennessee. They had 2 biological boys, Elijah and Jeremiah, and they adopted 2 African American kids and then 2 Chinese kids. You know, and so they were just really good examples, and they put them in mind of you guys, you know, and they're just wonderfully blessed. You would love meeting them and talking to them about their story and their journey. So listen, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with you.
Hello, my name is Richard Oden. I wrote the book My Full Life Circle Squared. I'm a local author in Opelika, Alabama. My Full Life Circle Squared, or To the Second Power. I went from a foster kid to a foster parent, which completed my first life circle, and then I went from being adopted out of foster care to adopting 3 kids out of foster care, which completed my second life circle. So My Full Life Circle Squared. I wrote this book when I was in Afghanistan, and so it's an adoption and military story. I put you on the ground in Bagram Airfield, Afghanistan, in the events that happened in 2014. So I encourage people to whatever they're going through, to stick with God and have hope with Him that you can overcome anything. I also encourage people to go out of their way to serve military families. If you're not called to serve in uniform, you can absolutely serve families who do that. A lot of times the wife of the military or the spouse of the military does not get a whole lot of credit. And I try to encourage people to remember the spouses as well, because they serve too. They may not wear the uniform, but they absolutely serve by holding down the fort. In my case, my wife gave birth when I was overseas and was taking care of 3 foster kids. As a matter of fact, she didn't even have time to worry about me because she was so covered up with all this. So any purchases that can be made on Amazon, I will be gladly donating 10% or more of any proceeds to Big House Foundation, which is a nonprofit foster care organization. And so if you're interested and you think about maybe becoming a foster parent, or you're looking for other ways to serve, I can be reached out. I'll be at Opelika home game stadiums. Just ask around, you'll be able to find me. I'm also a UPS driver, or you could contact the show and I'll be happy to chat. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Hello, and we are back from our commercial break, and we have extra special guests. We have Debbie and Jerry Oden. They are the parents of Richard Oden, who we just heard a few minutes ago, sharing his life story about foster care and adoption and his life journey, along with his beautiful wife, Brittany, and he shared also his book. But it's important to hear from the parents of their journey in adoption. So we want to talk for just a few minutes with Jerry and Debbie about their journey as adoptive and foster parents. How are y'all doing today?
Oh, we're good.
Fine, thank you.
Well, thank y'all for being here. I'm so excited that Richard called me and he texted me and said, hey, I want my parents to say something. And then I was like, sure, we'll work it out, you know. And so it's a privilege to have you guys here to share just a little bit about how you guys started with adoption. You know, so tell us just a little bit about the process and how the decision making that brought you to the decision to adopt. I mean, how did that get started and where did it come from?
Well, it took probably a total of a couple of years. We were not at the time that we started all started this journey, we were not licensed to be foster and adoptive parents.
Sure, because it is a process, right?
It is, yes. And so you have to be licensed. And so our second son was buddies with Richard. And so they developed a really close friendship.
Oh, wow.
And that's how we came to know Richard. And it was through, them just interacting at church. And Richard would come to our house, or Wes would go to his foster home, like maybe on Sunday afternoons after worship. And the guys would just play. They'd get out and get dirty and all the things that little boys do.
Yeah.
And but anyway, Richard and his sister Laura, they got moved from North Alabama down to just above Birmingham. And so luckily Richard had told them that he had given his social worker our names, because they asked, is there anybody in the Huntsville, Madison County area that you'd like to stay in contact with? And Richard gave them our names. And so so they allowed Richard to write us, and we would get these letters, and to be honest, we cried through most of them. We were kind of heartbroken, and Wes was missing his best friend at the time. And so anyway, that's kind of where all of this started. We had 4 biological children, very close in age. And so we really, it wasn't our idea. But I always come back to that saying, but God.
Yeah, but God.
God stepped in and placed it on our hearts, and to start thinking about it. And for a while, we didn't say anything to each other. And one very late night, laying down in bed after a long, hard day, I finally said something to Jerry about us. I said, I know this sounds kind of crazy, but do you think we could maybe look into adopting Richard and Laura and get them back up here?
Yes.
And he had the same thought, but neither one of us had mentioned it.
Oh my goodness. Really?
So anyway, that was kind of where it started. And then it was approximately 2 years from probably that initial conversation and when we started that, before the adoptions actually went through on May 15th that year.
Wow.
But anyway, that's kind of where things started from. And but we had to go through the classes.
Sure.
Initially, nobody paid us any attention. I think they thought we were nuts. It's like I had one lady, that I spoke to. I don't know what her name was or anything, but I called and said, "Hey, we're interested in, getting in, maybe getting in touch with Richard and Laura," and they had a different name at the time.
Right.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, and I said, and possibly adopting them.
Wow.
And the lady said, "This is not how it works, honey." I mean, she kind of put me in my place right away.
I love it.
So we didn't go about this. There was nothing usual about the way this all transpired.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So if Richard was 12 at that time, so he was
he was younger. He was about 10 at the time.
Okay.
But he was 12 when the adoption went through.
Isn't that amazing? So you and Jerry were just laying in the bed talking. Well, just laying in the bed, and it popped up in your heart to say something to him about it.
Yeah.
And what did you say, Mr. Jerry?
Well, I mean, we both had similar thoughts, but it just never spoke in them. So I, let her know that yes, well, I had felt the same way, although I hadn't said anything. And so, not knowing the next step, you just start.
Right. Just make one foot in front of the other.
And you're quickly told that you're going the wrong direction, and you're not even on, you're not on the map.
Wow.
So, they were no longer in our area. They were, the administratively jurisdictions are different places. But somewhere along the way, there was a social worker
At Child Haven.
at Child Haven
Okay.
where that Richard, and they were not involved with Richard and Brittany, or not Richard and Laura, but they had been in the past.
Okay.
And one of their social workers kind of took us under her wing,
That was favor.
and
God.
but no insurance, no influence, no
Yeah,
real
yeah,
influence
okay.
of the process, but just gave us enough direction to get on, one of several paths. I mean,
Yeah.
we had to qualify twice
Yeah.
or 3 times
Yeah.
because
we had to do paperwork for everybody.
we had to qualify in our local area, and of course, then we had to requalify
Jefferson
for
County.
for foster care,
Wow.
and then we had to do it all over again for adoptive
Adoption.
care
Wow,
because
that's a lot
they lived
process.
with us
Yeah.
as foster kids for
13 months.
about a
Okay.
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
During the process.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it was a busy couple years.
I can imagine so, but you got it done. You
We
didn't
did.
quit, and I understand that. My nephew and his wife they are fostering his brother's 2 twins, and they had to go through a lot of grueling, paperwork and classes and stuff like that. So we understand that. I understand that process.
Yeah. Well, as long as Richard and Laura were part of the system, so to speak, there were several agencies that, I guess, worked with them.
Sure.
And so we had to qualify for all the agencies. We had to qualify for Jefferson County and both Madison County as well, because Madison County was our home county.
Okay.
And anyway, when they started, first we got qualified for just visits, like to take them for an afternoon. And so, it started out that way and then progressed. But they were in Limestone County by that point, on the other side of Athens. And so it was up to us. The lady was a widow and she didn't have a lot of resources. So it was up to us to get in our vehicle and drive over an hour, anytime we could get permission to spend time with them. And we didn't know Laura as well.
Yeah.
We knew her, and we knew she was Richard's sister, but that was one thing, we knew Richard and we loved Richard, just from him being in our home and interacting with our other children, and all. But, we had to get to know Laura. And so, thankfully we were able to fall in love with Laura like we did Richard, and
make it happen.
it did.
It happened. Well, now the next question was posed that I wanted to talk to you guys about was how hard was it for them to mesh with your biological children? But then you've kind of already answered that because they were friends, and so you kind of grew up in your home and everybody knew Richard, everybody knew him, and so it was, how was the transition from them being just friends to now you're adopting them? How was it? I mean, how was the transition, Mr. Jerry?
Well, it would be, inaccurate. It wasn't static. Things don't stay the same. Who's big buddies this week and who's not big buddies next week?
No doubt about it.
Changes. So parenting is not a smooth road.
No, it's not.
It doesn't matter whether they're born to you or whether you adopt them.
You better say that.
So
I'm telling you, you better say it.
So there are bumps and there are mountains, and they're going to be in your life.
Yes, that's good. It just kind of did it just transition easy as far as them, just them meshing and then accepting the fact that you guys were going to be adoptive parents. I know the journey wasn't easy, because you're dealing with teenagers, you're dealing with a child that had traumatic background.
They had trauma.
That, and so and some of the ones that we birth have trauma. You know what I'm saying? But because most of the time I want to put mine in a headlock, but and beat them down.
Yeah.
But were your kids okay with you guys adopting them and bringing them into the home?
Yes, that was one thing that we wanted to make sure of. We wanted everyone to be on board. We before proceeding, and we also wanted to give Richard and Laura a voice because, like Richard had mentioned, they moved so many times, and I felt like, Jerry and I felt like they would get moved, but nobody ever asked them if they wanted to, or I mean, there were just adults making all these decisions, and I feel like they wanted to do what was in their best interest, but we wanted them to actually be able to voice that. And we told them very early on, once it was shared with them that we were interested in adopting, we said, we're only going to do this if this is what you all want.
Right.
Both of you have to want this, and we're not going to force you into something you don't want. But getting back to your initial question, I think it's a lot like getting married. Initially, there's kind of a honeymoon phase, and then real life sets in. But that was one of our goals for Richard and Laura, to be part of a, if you want to call us normal, a normal family. You know what I mean? So, we wanted Richard to one day be able to lead a family.
That's right.
And to be a husband and a provider and a protector and a dad, and we wanted, Laura to be, a mother or a wife and a mother someday. And so, but anyway, I would say everybody was gung-ho initially, but yes, there were bumps and some mountains and that we encountered.
Well, that goes with the territory.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't, it's nowhere around it, I always tell people, if Jesus came down and put you and Mr. Jerry together, if Jesus stood there and put your hands like this, and that's your mate, and that's your life partner, guess what? After the honeymoon, you're gonna want to be like, put them in the headlock, knock them out, leave them, all of the above, because you're gonna. It's just a part of life. Nothing is perfect in life. So but the good thing is that you guys brought them together with your family, and then you blended this wonderful family, and you raised them up. You did the best you could. I'm sure you had to say some, spank some backsides and put on, take the phone, and you can't go out here. You're on restriction. I don't know if they had time out back then, but.
And the car,
his
senior year.
Yeah, exactly. So so hey, but you made it. So how do you guys feel about your decision today? How many years later? Richard is grown.
A lot.
Lauren is grown, and now you have grandkids.
Right.
A whole lot of them.
Yeah.
So how did that make you feel now that you on the other side? You took this beautiful young man and his sister in, and now they're grown and they're older, and you poured into them. You made a difference in their life. You helped change their life. How do you feel today about that? Let me ask Mr. Jerry first.
Sure.
He's the wise man. He's the wise man up here.
Say that.
How did it make you feel?
It's I mean, they're your kids.
Yes.
Okay. You don't always go back to childbirth. Was this really such a good idea?
Right.
They're your kids. You deal with it from each day, and your life is richer because of it.
Yes. Yeah. Your quiver is full of them. You have a lot of kids, because
we do.
6 kids actually, and then how many grandkids?
We have 8, but there's a total with spouses and everybody. There's 21 of us now. So come to our house for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and you can't stir us with a stick. And everybody talks at once. And the grandkids are dragging out toys.
Oh my goodness.
But I love it. I'm exhausted when it's over.
Yeah, but it's so fulfilling.
I love it. Yeah.
It's so fulfilling. So how do you feel about what you've done and, made a difference in their lives? How do you feel?
I'm proud of all of them, all 6 of them, and the different, paths they've taken. And I'm thankful that we've survived it all.
Yes.
I have gray hair for a reason.
It's beautiful.
But I don't know. Jerry and I never felt like we deserved any credit or pats on the back, because I really feel like it was God
Yes.
in all of this,
Amen.
you know.
Amen.
And so,
He ordered your step. He directed your path.
yes, I mean, I can just see, you know, with various things that transpired and happened, that, you know, God was there, you know, making our way.
Yes.
So,
Oh, my
but I
goodness.
pray for them all every day. It takes a while, but I do it.
Yes, it does, because you have a big family.
Yes.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Well,
we feel blessed.
Tell us, say hello to your other kids. We don't want them to feel like we left them out. So I don't know them, but just look at the
You want
camera
me to
and tell
go
them.
through everybody?
Well, I want you to say hello to your kids.
Okay.
And then say hey to the grandkids. How about that? But you
Okay.
can call your children names out.
Okay.
Because Richard is already here.
Yes.
And Brittany. So,
All
Laurie.
right. So, hi, Lane and Whitney and Wes. And, of course, Richard and Brittany are here. Amy and Lisa and Kristen and Laura and Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all the adults.
Yes. Oh, wow. What about the grandkids? Hey, grandbabies.
Hey, grandbabies. Nana and Papa love you forever and always.
Oh, yeah, that was good. Yes. Awesome. Well, listen, thank you so much for just coming up, sharing a little bit about your story and your journey, and what God has used you guys both to do in the lives of Richard and Lauren. It means so much. And I'm sure that God is proud of you for just being obedient. You know, obedient goes a long way. And I'm sure that you're blessed because of it. So thank you guys again. I love you guys so much for being here.
Thank you.
And taking time out of your busy schedule. And I'm so glad for Richard for asking you guys to come. So listen, that's the end of our show. That's the end of You Better Say That talk show. Listen, check us out on the You Better Say That Facebook page, the You Better Say That YouTube channel, and my personal channel, and also at ybsttalkshow.com. God bless you, and until next time, you better say that.
You better say that.
Hey, it's your girl, your host, Alzada Florence.
Say that. You better say that. Ooh.
Thank you for tuning in to the You Better Say